Joining us now is our senior political editor, Steve Chaggaris, and CBSN political contributor, Leslie Sanchez, who's in Los Angeles. Leslie, to you first. As a Republican strategist, what is your take on what Donald Trump said about Rafael Cruz and the Cruz response?
Sure. I think, what's interesting about it, it's consistent with the fact that I think Donald Trump kind of shoots with whatever he's feeling at the time. And I think he's past the point of these salacious or bombastic statements that just get a lot of attention. It distracts from where the campaign is going. If he wants to look more and take on more the mantle of the presidency, he has to control this kind of media coverage and the firestorm that's going to come from those comments. And digging up a conspiracy and a photo from 1963 is not a way to do that. So I think it takes everybody off the game. And again, we're going to spend several cycles talking about it. But overall, I don't think it hurts him.
Steve, Ted Cruz responded to this, and you saw that press conference. He called Trump a pathological liar, a serial philanderer. He talked about, apparently Mr. Trump said something on the Howard Stern show about STDs, which was his own personal Vietnam, and Ted Cruz dredged all of those up in that press conference. Is that the way to go? Is that the way to hit back?
Well, it's the way everybody else has sort of been hitting back with Donald Trump.
Doesn't stick, though.
We saw where everybody else is right now. They're not in the race.
Yeah.
Right? And so the question is, and this is going to be interesting if Trump does become the nominee and he starts going after Hillary Clinton like this, how does Hillary Clinton handle this? She's saying right now, and they've all said this, we can stand up to Donald Trump. We're not going to listen to him when he makes these kinds of comments about us. And yet they all fall into the same trap, and they all wind up then spinning their wheels and becoming very defensive against it. And I don't think it actually makes them look very good. I mean, at the end of the day, Trump has defeated every single one of these guys by playing this game. So if he's a nominee and he's up against Hillary Clinton, I'm really interested to see how she handles this. Does she fall into this trap, or does she just sort of stand back and try to act like the adult in the room and move on? We'll see.
But even, Leslie, even when she does attempt to do that, she made a comment about, the woman card and dealing with men who go off the reservation. Trump tried to spin that and say that using that term, reservation, was derogatory to Native Americans. That's a tight turn there.
Tight turn for political correctness. All of a sudden, we're in favor of that. What is interesting, and Steve and I have spent a lot of time talking about this, that we know politics is a contact sport, but this is a different type of engagement that very much is the style, both leadership style and kind of combat style of Donald Trump. But other traditional political candidates do not know what to make of the bully in the schoolyard. But is it the bully, or is it somebody really kind of advocating a passionate style that is very different in politics? It is something that people are not familiar with, and I think you're going to see a lot of testing and a lot of recalibration on the Clinton campaign in terms of getting the right mix, where she's more ingratiating herself among independents, and as opposed to looking like somebody who's schooling him.
All right, I want to just read out for our viewers. We just got at 1:02 p.m. Eastern Time from the Donald Trump campaign a response to the most recent outburst from Ted Cruz. It says, Ted Cruz is a desperate candidate trying to save his failing campaign. It is no surprise he has resorted to his usual tactics of over-the-top rhetoric that nobody believes. Over the last week, I've watched Lion Ted become more and more unhinged as he's unable to react under the pressure and stress of losing, in all cases by landslides, the last 6 primary elections, in fact coming in last place in all but one of them. Today's ridiculous outburst only proves what I've been saying for a long time, that Ted Cruz does not have the temperament to be president of the United States. Ted Cruz doesn't have the temperament, Steve.
Well, but remember what happened when Marco Rubio started going after Trump and started calling him all sorts of names and insulting Trump? And then Trump tried to turn it around and say, look, he doesn't, this guy's just insulting me. It made actually Rubio, it made him look, it didn't really work for him, right? His numbers started going down, and then he wound up losing Florida, and the game was over. I'm wondering if something similar is happening here. I think Trump baits these people into almost falling apart, imploding. It's just, it's an amazing thing. And part of it is, and it's what Leslie was alluding to, I don't think the other candidates know how to handle this kind of thing, whatever whether you call it being a bully or just being a tell it like it is, I'm just going to shoot from the hip. And, I'm not sure he's expecting everybody to react, but everybody does react, and they all react in a way that seems to not work for the person who's being attacked.
All right, Leslie, earlier Ted Cruz faced Trump supporters in Indiana, and they were very, very clear in their dislike for the senator. Take a look.
And I'm running to be everyone's president, those who vote for me, even those who don't
want you.
Well, you're entitled to your views, sir, and I will respect it. In fact, I will
do the
protect.
math.
I will
You
protect
ask
your
cases
rights.
to drop out. It's your turn.
Well,
Take your own words.
now I'm curious, sir.
Time to drop out.
When
sir.
Donald doesn't get to 1237, are you going to call him to drop out?
Donald's definitely going to get to
No,
1237.
no,
No,
he's
he's going
not.
to get more than 1237.
Let me ask you something, sir. What do you like about Donald?
Everything.
Give me one.
Everything.
Give me one. Can you pick anything?
Donald Trump, fuck too! The wall.
Okay, the wall.
That's the main thing.
All right.
Immigration.
All right, hold on a second. Now, do you know on the wall that Donald told the New York Times editorial board he's not going to build a wall and he's not going to deport anyone?
You're lying. Once
Well,
again, lying Ted!
Well, sir,
I don't know about you, Leslie, but I found that moment to be uncomfortable. Although Ted Cruz is clearly a master debater, you're dealing with people that clearly support Mr. Trump and clearly have bought into some of the things that he said about his opponent. I wonder if we see Ted Cruz losing today in Indiana.
Absolutely. I mean,
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. There's very few things any of us gotten right so far in the election cycle, but let's just look at the facts here. When you are engaging with a really passionate supporter, all you can do is respect them, respect their position, thank you so much, and move along. But having this kind of pedestrian debate on the rope line is really not going to do anything but engage the cameras and make him look like he was condescending. That's what I didn't like about Senator Cruz there. He was very respectful. Don't get me wrong, but why is he engaging at that moment? And I think also his response to Steve's point today, where he gets in a heated thing and he's trying to punch back, but that's the illusion here. I think the candidates who do best, if you look at Governor Kasich, are the ones who step away from this and kind of run their own campaign and continue moving. Even Chris Christie, even though he's no longer there, he didn't really engage that often. That fundamentally, I don't know that you can engage with Trump or Trump supporters and come out winning.
Well, an interesting point on that is Cruz did not engage for the longest time. If you remember, through the winter and early on, he stayed away from this whole Trump fight. And then after it got down to 2 or 3 or 4 people running against Trump, and then Cruz started to get aggressive, and then you started seeing Cruz losing momentum. And I wonder if that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, Vlad, if we had time for it real quickly, the issue with Senator Cruz is he's just not, there's a lot of individuals who just don't like his style. They blame him both on the Republican and Democratic side in terms of leadership on the Hill for the government shutdown. They haven't forgotten that. So there's some ill will there that he has to work through. As it's certainly a strong base of support, but this likability factor does cross over and spill over, especially when you get to the rally environment.